Welcome to the Weird Works podcast. I'm Dr. Kristy, your host. Join us for conversations about alternative and sometimes controversial healthcare topics. This podcast will provide the evidence that you need in order to make informed decisions about your health, to empower you with the facts that you need to advocate for your health, and to encourage you that there is hope your body heals. Join us from experts from all things weird, as well as the testimonies of people with stories of radical healing who were once told that perhaps their condition was a death sentence, that they would just need to live with it, or that drugs and invasive surgery were the only answer. Let's get into agreement that if there is something natural and non-invasive that could be helpful, that it could be your first option rather than your last resort. Okay, so here I am today. I am with Health Coach Kay. And I'm excited to interview her for you guys because she deals with her clients with a lot of things that our audience naturally would struggle with when they're trying to implement some kind of change, whether it's lifestyle or nutrition or diet. So first, I think it would be cool just for the audience to get to know you a little bit. Okay. So do you want to share how you came to become a health coach?
Okay. So my background, I've actually been in the military for the last 25 years. But as I reached the age of 40, I'm now 44, I started to really realize I was believing a lot of the things that culture says about health decline and weight gain as you get older. And for years before that, I was always looking for the one perfect diet and the one perfect thing. And I came to learn that there is no one perfect thing for everybody, that we're individual, and there's a perfect, thing for me. So on that journey, I, got certified as a health coach because it was really like a combination of my interests, being the fact that we can heal our bodies through food, but that we need to learn about our individual bodies so that we can do that well, and then also being fascinated with the way our brain works, because I talk a lot about habit change. And the other part is helping people dig deep into who they are to become who they desire to be. So I have a desire for people to grow into the best version of themselves, and so health coaching to me marries all of those things.
I love that. That's awesome. I know, because it's always easy to want more for others when you know what's possible, right? And then you desire that for other people.
That's correct.
Now you can kind of pay it forward and help other people discover that.
Yes.
And that affects everything, right? Like how they show up with their jobs, with their careers, with their spouses.
Yes, and that is one of the things we talk about is how you do anything is how you do everything. So the commitment that you place in one area of your life, that overflows to other areas as well. And then if you're focusing more on your health, it's not just impacting your health, it's also impacting relationships and other important things.
I think that is really what motivates people to stick with it too, right? Yes. Like if you can understand that, like, okay, like maybe they have a health concern or they're not handling stress as well as they could, or fatigue is a common one, like the day slump kind of a thing. But like then come to find out that like maybe they weren't able to get that promotion at work because it's really impacting their performance, or it's really impacting their relationships and their ability to be present when they get home with the kids because they don't have anything left. Yes. Like those are the real factors that we're working with, right?
Correct. Yes, and it's all tied together. But then also how when people are able to see a success in one area, how they're able to see themselves overcome or obtain something that they didn't think was possible, they're able to, bring that over to other areas of their life.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that makes total sense. So that is probably one of the big categories of people that I would like to kind of discuss with you is that, not everybody gets a quick fix. In fact, I think the reason why less people seek out more alternative type therapies is because of that fact that it's not a take a pill quick fix. Like they have to be willing to do the work and come alongside the practitioner in order to be willing to make the lifestyle and dietary changes and the things we're asking of them. Right? Like we can't heal them and let them keep doing the same things. So what do you have to say about people like that? there's a difference. Like some people will dig deep and have a willingness to do whatever it's going to take, even if it takes more time and money and effort than they originally thought. And then other people like are going to just throw the towel in the minute things get too difficult, or they don't get results within a week, kind of a thing. So can you kind of speak to that? Like, what is it that people like have that persistence or willing to like?
Yes. Sadly, I think sometimes it's when people have those medical diagnoses. So I think it's important for us to realize that we got to a certain condition after years of doing the same thing. So medical diagnoses, yes, you may have just found out today, this week, this month, but it's an accumulation of your lifestyle over years. And so on the flip side, we have to give our bodies time to heal as well. So helping people see the immediate changes, because like you're saying, you're not necessarily going to immediately reverse the diagnosis, but with hard work, you will be able to see improvements. So being able to see that you have more energy when you're feeding yourself nutritious foods. Yes, you may not have completely healed yourself yet, but you're on the path. So helping people see and celebrate those things, I believe, helps them to continue on the path. Because I feel like we are a society that is used to quick fixes and also not listening to our bodies. Because if we have a headache, we might just go take an Advil or a lead instead of trying to figure out what's causing this headache. Why am I getting a headache every day at 2 p.m. and uncovering that root cause? We're used to just putting a Band-Aid on it and moving forward. And so I think that's how a lot of people want to address their medical care, is they just want a Band-Aid when what we're talking about is we want to fix the problem, get to the root cause, not just take away symptoms. So it's going to take work to get to that root cause, just like it took a long time for you to get to that, health diagnosis. Exactly. So I think it's just focusing on the immediate wins, because there are wins. When you start taking better care of yourself, you're going to have benefits. Be better sleep, be that more energy, that you're going to have benefits. That's what we're going to focus on those things and celebrate those things.
I love that advice. It is important to celebrate the wins along the way. And you know what's astonishing to me a lot of times is I find that like people forget where they came from, and so they come in and have this whole list of stuff and it's wrecking their whole entire world and they're miserable. And then the cool thing with our testing though is that like we know they're getting better along the way. Like we're not guessing. We've got some measurement tools that show us that they are in fact responding regardless of the symptoms. But like all of a sudden, like they're feeling better, their headaches are gone, and their digestive upset is gone, and all. And maybe they haven't lost all the weight. Like that's the big trigger, right? So I'm still not losing weight, but like I don't have problems just sleeping through the night. All these other things are better, and like I feel like they tend to forget like how bad things were before.
But that's so true. The thing that I talk to my clients about is we want to get to a point to where you are different, where you don't have to remember to try to be different. So that's just an example of their identity being changed. So they are no longer where they started. So they don't even identify as that person anymore. Right. So, but it's interesting because it is something that we have to help them recall so they can celebrate. And I do that with my clients as well. But it's a true identity shift where you're not just a person that's trying to eat healthy, or you're not just a person that's trying to, carry out the things that were prescribed in the beginning of your process, but you are a person that's doing that. Yeah. So now you don't even see yourself the same anymore, which is a accomplishment.
I love that. And that's really like the power of words, and anybody who teaches like how to write a positive affirmation, and use some of these word cues tells you write it in the present as if it's already happening. So that speaks to what you just said, like I am eating healthy, I am losing weight, I am doing great things for my body.
Because people don't realize when you say I will, that's tomorrow. That's
tomorrow
never
comes.
Right. Like, oh, I will do it. I'm just not doing it right now.
Yeah. That's like we'll say, like, put a sign up like free care tomorrow.
Yes.
Everything's free tomorrow, right?
Today.
Not today. I love it. Okay, so now on the other side is, maybe not the other side, but there's another narrative that goes along that I hear on the regular, is that people are seemingly doing all the right things. They've got their diet locked in. They're willing to invest in time and money and effort. They're taking whole food supplements. They're exercising. They're trying to manage their stress and doing all the things, but maybe they still aren't getting better. So, how important is somebody's ability to get well related to self-love or self-worth?
So we are complete beings. So when we look at our health, it's not only the way we're nourishing our bodies through food, but also the way we are in our relationships and other areas. So things beyond just what it is we're putting in our mouths and even the exercise that we're giving our bodies. Like we can be taking really great care of ourselves, but if we are not addressing other areas in our lives, we can still continue to not feel complete. Like we are built for connection. So if we are not putting attention on building strong relationships, be that a marriage, a friendship, relationships with your siblings, whatever. But those are things that are also important for us to be whole as individuals.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's often why we tell people, like, get off of social media, turn the television off. Like, there's so much doom and gloom and division, right?
Yeah, yes. And I've heard the saying where we're comparing our real lives to other people's highlight reel. Yeah. So when we look on social media and we measure ourselves against what other people are showing you, that's not a true comparison. So we definitely have to, no one wins the comparison game, but that's definitely a negative thing to overcome. If it's not feeding you, if it's not giving you joy, it's not something that you should put a lot of time into.
So maybe people really need to analyze how their interactions and their, how they're spending their recreational time is feeding them. When you think about food, like the food we put on our mouth, but you feed yourself and your mind in a lot of other ways as well, right?
Exactly.
So we are big on individualized approaches and not just everybody gets the same old cookie cutter, right? So we were talking about with a headache, like it's easy, quick fix, just take a Advil and get on with your day kind of a thing, because nobody's got time for that, and like getting to the root cause takes time. So we always use that example of a headache. Like, did you know that a headache is a generic symptom for could be over 200 different conditions?
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Right. So like you could have a headache because of dehydration. I could have a headache because of hormone imbalances. Somebody's could be because of physical trauma. Another person could be because of food sensitivity. Somebody's could be because they just breathed in some kind of chemicals or perfumes that they're actually sensitive to. And so our approach would be, you might just need some water, right? I might need to go on a major liver detox. Somebody might need an adjustment. Somebody might need like a full system like reboot. So how do you individualize coaching? Because I know how we do it on a nutrition program.
Yeah, so I really help clients get to know themselves more. So I really walk them through, kind of nudging them along and being their accountability buddy. But it's really to help them to be more intentional and to help them get to know themselves. So the more they're able to understand themselves, they're able to express what it is they need. Right. But I believe, and that's the hardest thing I find with clients is trying to help them to learn which foods are best for them. That's kind of one of the things that we do early on, but because we don't understand how, we don't make the connection between what we eat and how we later feel. So it usually takes clients some time to start to associate those things, like how too much sugar makes your body feel. But there's a huge disconnect. But that's one of the things that we start with early on is learning what fuels your body, what makes you feel good, and that also helps with making healthier food choices. Because before I was on this journey, I always saw eating well for the purpose of losing weight. I didn't associate eating well for the purpose of feeling well.
Big difference.
Yeah. Big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference. And so when people are starting to understand how food makes them feel, it's easier to make choices for nutritious food. You see it totally differently instead of feeling like, oh, I just want to sit on this couch and have a bowl of ice cream, which is what I used to like to do back in the day.
Yeah.
But
so
when
like
you,
confession corner over here.
Yes.
But I have confessions too. It's okay.
When you understand the way that is making you feel, like, okay, in the moment it may seem like it's helping you,
temporary fix,
but it's causing all of these problems in your body. And so that's a huge shift, is understanding, oh, this food makes me feel great. It gives me energy. And then you learn that you actually like healthy food. And that's the other narrative, is that, oh, healthy food is bland, and all of these negative things, like you have to be defining yourself when you're eating healthy food. But yeah, that's where we start, is really learning how your body is responding to what you're eating, so that it's easier for you to make those healthy food choices, and also helping people learn what exercise they enjoy, because that's another area where you hear the word exercise, and a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like exercise, because they see exercise as being in the gym, lifting weights. But exercise could be us having a dance party right here in this room.
Right.
Exercise is anything. It's walking up the stairs. Make it fun, and make it something that you can enjoy, something you can look forward to. So I work with clients on finding, well, what is that for you? Because it's not, let's just get a book and see what worked for someone else. Some of those things may work for you, but let's make an individualized plan that you are going to be able to do, and for a long time, not just for 30 days, 90 days, but for the rest of your life.
Because there are a lot of that, like 1 week challenge, 30-day detox, 90-day get fit quick kind of a thing, and what you really have to build in those habits so that it can be sustainable and long term.
Like this is a journey. It's not enough. Even when people are like, well, I just want to lose weight for my family reunion, and it's that's just it's not term. It's short term. It's short term. Yeah, and then people are more willing to do things that are not good for their bodies just for that end result, instead of the end result being energy and health.
Right. So a lot of that, like what I'm hearing you say, a lot of it still comes down to mindset and celebrating the wins. So like it's easy to say like that food gave me digestive upset, but also that food gives me tons of energy. So looking for the positive again instead of all the negative.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. I think that's important. The other thing that you said that resonated with me was that eating healthy doesn't have to be deprivation and starvation and all this, like not having a satisfying life. I always tell my patients, like, I'm Italian. I grew up around my grandparents' dining room table. Like, food was a lot more than just feeding and fueling your body. It was social. It was, emotional. Yeah, there was a lot of other layers about food and eating there. And so, like, I like to eat. You wouldn't look at me and be like, think like I give a hoot about it. So, yes, you can make things that you love just in a healthier version of them, and that's a lot of what we try to do.
And then incorporating spices, that are going to give it flavor, but also give you nutrition.
Yeah, that's a good hint. Spices and like fresh herbs are another good way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have heard you say at other speaking engagements use the term white knuckling it. Do you care to explain that? Because I thought it was really interesting.
Well, sometimes we have to just persevere through. Because I used to think a lot about shifting your mindset first, and I do believe mindset holds us back. But when we actually take action, that helps change your mindset. So instead of just, working on your mindset, thinking, well, I'm going to choose to think different, being able to take action and show yourself something different will help you change your mindset. So that's when I just mean get out there and do something. Be in motion, be moving towards your goal, and not just waiting to feel different about it, because we're not always going to feel like doing something. And that's the habits is, I explained how habits are 45% of the things that we do. We just do out of habit. We do it without thinking. We do it automatically. And so that's why it can often be a challenge for us to, break a bad habit and even start a new habit. So the goal with changing our habits is to make the things that we do want to do become part of that 45%. So a lot of times we think about motivation and willpower being those factors that help you reach your goals. But those are not the things that help you reach your goals. Those can help you get started, but they take effort. They're like a muscle and they get tired. So motivation and willpower is not enough. So we really have to change your habits. And I help clients put systems in place so that they're able to incorporate new habits into their life. And so that's when we shift over from having to just make ourselves do something to it becoming part of what we do. The way you explain clients seeing themselves totally different and not even remember, where they
came from.
Yeah. So that's an example of that. In the beginning, you're having to kind of make yourself do it. You are having to rely a little bit on that motivation and willpower, but ultimately, those things need to shift over into habits, which you start by creating systems to be able to make those things happen.
Right, so it's not going to come naturally at first, but if you can trick yourself enough to become that's your new normal. I know they say it's new normal, but really, create a healthier, newer normal. Right, you have to have some kind of mechanism to implement the change long enough for that to become a new habit.
Correct. Yeah. Because our brains are hardwired for efficiency. So it's not that our brains are trying to make us lazy, but they're very efficient. So just like when you drive to work every day or you do something all the time, your brain is going to start to do that automatically so that you don't have to think about it. You're not thinking about every turn you make, or when you brush your teeth in the morning, you're not thinking about, I better go, hit that left side upper row. You're just not having that thought because you do it every day.
Right.
You know how to do it without thinking about it at all.
So you've got to get to the point where these new changes become autopilot.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Which it is scary in a car when all of a sudden you got to where and you don't remember.
And I'm sure we've all been there.
Everybody's done that.
Or you end up at the wrong place because you're like, I wasn't supposed to be coming to this grocery store or whatever.
Or like, are you moved when you go to your old house or your old office?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Somebody told me that happened that one time.
So we want those automatic behaviors to be things that are helping you reach your goals.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so here's something that I hear a lot too. So a lot of times new patients come in and they will say this phrase, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it.
Yes.
So what is that? Is that just like the human condition or what is it?
That goes back to habits.
Yeah. Okay.
So we know we're all intelligent people. Yeah. We know that we should eat well. Yeah. We should exercise. This is not rocket science. It's not. We know these things. But it's the habits that we form. Even things like learning how to cook nutritious meals. So if we have been accustomed to making things a certain way, even simple things like salad dressing. Right. It's so easy to whip up some salad dressing.
And it tastes better too. I love homemade salad dressing.
But we, for years you've grown up buying this salad dressing.
Probably the same one every year.
Right, with all these ingredients that you don't understand, when you can just whip 3 ingredients in a jar and shake it up and put it on your salad. But just making that shift to being able to.
So we were talking about people say, I know what to do, just not doing it.
Yeah, so we need to change our habits so that we can do those things. So it's just back to our brain falling into that regular old routine, and we have to, interrupt that pattern so that we can start to do things differently.
That's probably what it is a pattern interrupt, because when we are busy and we're stressed to the max and we're multitasking like fools, it actually takes less energy for your body to do what it's used to doing.
Exactly.
Right? It's a muscle. And it's muscle memory. And so like this habit change is like you have to trick the body and retrain it, just like your muscle. If you're trying to get a bigger bicep muscle, you know, you can't just go do it once and expect to see a change in the, you know, strength or the appearance of that muscle. You have to do it repeatedly to retrain the muscle memory to do something different. Exactly. And so really, like, all our systems, all our cells, our brain, everything works similarly to that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad you've heard people say that too.
Definitely.
That's just me.
Yes.
Okay. This is a hard question, but I'm going to ask you it because somebody caught me off guard one time and asked me if there was just one thing that you would recommend for people to be healthier, what would it be? And I was like, one thing, huh? So I'm going to ask you, what is the one single most important thing that people need in order to create change, whether it's changing their diet, career, relationship, maybe say habit?
I'm going to say habit!
I think I'm learning something here. I'm getting it. I woke up the dog.
If you can learn how to create new habits, that is, because that applies to every area of your life. You're able to change any area if you can create new habits.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Habit. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to tell our audience?
No, I think that's it. It's been a pleasure being here today.
So I'm going to ask you if it's okay if I muscle test you.
Oh, yes, please. That'd be great.
So we have all of our guests that come on. I like to push on their arm and show them the muscle testing also because I just feel like it's something that's so hard to talk about and it's a lot easier to just demonstrate it. So I'm gonna walk you through the muscle testing and then we'll just see what we see.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to trade places with you, but we're going to stand up. So you can stand over here. Have you ever been muscle tested before?
I want to be networking again.
Oh, okay. Okay, so first I'm just going to feel your muscle lock. Okay. So you're just going to hold your arm out like this. And I'm going to press down on your arm. I'm going to press towards the floor, and you push up into my hand. She's strong, so this is easy. So when your arm stays straight like that, that's what we call your muscle lock. Okay. When I do the testing, I'm just going to be placing light pressure over your organs. Okay. And then we're going to use the muscle test to tell us whether that area is strong or if there's a potential deficiency or imbalance. Okay. So we're either going to get the same lock or what we call an unlock. And everybody's unlock is a little bit different. Your arm might bob around, might bob up and down, or it might go down completely. Okay. So first we're going to feel your lock and unlock. Okay. So there's a point on the bridge of your nose. When I touch with one side of my finger, we should get the lock. And then when I turn my finger over, we should get an unlock. I know. This is where we say the weird works. This is where the weird works comes in. So I'm going to press. So that's your lock. Okay, turn my finger over. And that's your unlock. So that's my favorite reaction, right? So that just means to me that I'm getting accurate information from your body. That's what's supposed to happen. Okay. It's kind of like a magnet, like a track repel. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to do a screening. So you keep matching my pressure here, and then I'm going to touch all these points on the surface of the body that correspond with your organs. So they're like acupuncture points and meridians for anybody that's had an acupuncture. And we'll see which area is locked and which area is unlocked. And I don't know a whole lot about cave health history, so we're going in blind. But feel that? So do you know what lives right there?
My thyroid?
Yeah, that's your thyroid. So do you know of a thyroid condition? Now you said what led you to become a health coach was losing weight stuff. So there might be some metabolic stuff there.
Okay.
It's pretty healthy. Most of the points are locking into the skin. That's good. Now we're going to do our stress test here. So on the back of the body, we have kidney and adrenal. Everybody unlocks on the adrenal. Do you know what your adrenals are?
Well, I know that they give you energy or something, right?
Yeah, so adrenals is where your body produces stress hormones. Do you have any stress?
Well, yeah, I guess a little bit.
I know when people say no, I'm like, I don't know. Okay, so the next part of muscle testing is to determine if there's anything nutritionally that will help your thyroid or your adrenals. Okay. So the next part is to use these little sample bottles. These are glass bottles that have samples of the nutrition that we use on the program. Okay. And so your body can sense the energy of this when you hold onto it, and then we can use the muscle test to determine if this will in fact help the adrenal or the thyroid.
Our bodies are so amazing.
They are amazing, and they're always talking to us if we can listen to them, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have you hold this, and then I'm going to go back and test your adrenals. So she's holding the supplement called Adrenaline, and then I'm going to go back and touch adrenal and feel how we get that lock. So hand me that back so we can see with it and without it. We put it to the side. Oh, you feel the difference?
Yes.
Now here's what's fun, is if I hand you something that's not related to your adrenals, I don't get that same response, do I?
No, not at all.
So we only get the muscle lock when I give you the exact nutrient that this area of the body needs.
Amazing.
Now I'm going to go back and have you hold the same supplement and test your thyroid gland because the thyroid and the adrenals work together. So they're part of your endocrine system.
Okay.
And so what's interesting is that when I give her the adrenal support, we also get the lock muscle over the thyroid.
Yeah. Wow.
So by handling your adrenals, we can get a 2-for-1 and improve the health of the
Love a
thyroid.
2-for-1.
Isn't that good?
Yes.
So that's just a little demonstration because a lot of things we were talking about is how to get to the root cause of the problem, not do a band-aid fix, and also how to customize and individualize an approach for our patient. So this muscle testing tool is our way to do that clinically, but of course people need the hand-holding and accountability because it's not just a quick fix. Like you can't just take supplements and think that everything's going to change. What we really would need to do in a full evaluation is figure out are there particular foods, like you were saying, foods that your body likes or doesn't like. There could be immune challenges or chemicals or heavy metals or something that's interfering with the normal health and communication of your thyroid and adrenal gland function. And so we would determine that and then build a program based specifically on those things.
Okay.
So maybe at some point Ms. K will allow us to go through the full evaluation with her. And thank you for being a test.
Thank you.
It's one of those things that's super hard to explain. And so with muscle testing, if you don't understand it just by the video and by words, I definitely suggest that you come to a class. We always do free health screenings at all of our events because it's just one of those things that once you feel the lock and the unlock in your own body, you can't refute it. And it's the best way to understand it.
Yes.
So I want to thank Kay, Health Coach Kay, for being a part of our podcast this afternoon. We learned a lot from her, so I hope you guys start to implement some of that into your own clinical programs and that you've all learned a lot. I'm Dr. Kristy Harbell, signing off in good health naturally. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.